How Honda secretly limited the K20A to protect their reputation. December 2001. A Honda R&D facility in Tochigi, Japan. 3 senior engineers sit in a soundproof testing bay, staring at a dyno screen that shows numbers they weren't supposed to see. The K20A prototype on the stand has just completed its 200th consecutive full throttle pull. No failures, no degradation. And the power output, 287 horsepower, naturally aspirated from 2L. That's 143 horsepower per liter. In 2001, the lead engineer, Tetsuya Yamamoto, reaches for the emergency shutdown button, not because something broke, but because something worked too well. "We can't release this," he says quietly. Not like this. They know what he means. Because sitting in dealerships across America is the S2000, Honda's flagship sports car, making 240 horsepower from the F20C, and the NSX, their Halo supercar, making 290 from a 3-liter V6. If they released the K2A as tested, they would cannibalize their entire performance lineup with a motor destined for the Civic, a front-wheel drive economy car. So they made a decision that would haunt Honda enthusiasts for 2 decades. They deliberately limited the K20A, not through poor engineering, but through strategic suffocation. This is the story of how Honda built their greatest engine, then crippled it to save face, and why the evidence was hidden until a whistleblower leaked the documents that proved it all. The VTEC legacy Honda couldn't escape. To understand why Honda sabotaged their own masterpiece, you need to understand the monster they'd already created. VTEC, variable valve timing, and lift electronic control. 4 letters that defined a generation. When Honda released VTEC in 1989 with the B16A, it was revolutionary. An engine that could behave like a docile commuter motor at low RPMs, then transform into a screaming race engine at high revs. The B16A made 160 horsepower from 1.6L, naturally aspirated in an era when most 4-cylinders struggled to make 100. The formula was addictive, high-revving, razor-sharp throttle response. And that sound, that glorious mechanical howl as VTEC kicked in at 5,800 revolutions per minute, like someone flipped a switch and unleashed a trapped animal. Honda built an entire culture around it. The Integra Type R, the Civic Si, the S2000 with its 9,000 revolutions per minute redline. Every car became a testimony to the same philosophy: high specific output through high RPM engineering. But by the late 90s, Honda had painted themselves into a corner. They'd set the bar so high that every new engine had to be more powerful, more advanced, more exotic than the last. And their customers, the enthusiasts who bought Integras and S2000s, expected nothing less. The problem was physics and economics. You can only rev an engine so high before you hit the limits of valve spring technology, piston speed, and bearing life. The S2000's F20C was already pushing 9,000 revolutions per minute. Going higher wasn't just expensive, it was reckless. So Honda's engineers did something brilliant. Instead of chasing higher revs, they'd chase efficiency. They'd build an engine that made massive power through perfect breathing, perfect combustion, perfect everything. They called it the K-Series. And the flagship, the K20A, would be the most advanced 4-cylinder Honda had ever built. But they had no idea what they were about to unleash. The engine that was too good. The K20A development program started in 1998 with a simple brief: create a replacement for the aging B-Series engines that would meet stricter emission standards while maintaining Honda's performance heritage. But the engineering team, led by Yamamoto, had bigger ambitions. They didn't want to just match the B-Series. They wanted to embarrass it. To build an engine so sophisticated, so far ahead of its time that it would become the new benchmark. And they had the budget to do it. Honda was flush with cash from the CR-V and Accord. The bean counters gave the K-Series program a blank check, with one instruction: make it bulletproof. So they started with the block, cast aluminum with an open deck design for better cooling, pressed in iron sleeves for durability, a bed plate design that tied the main bearing caps directly to the transmission housing, creating a rigid structure that could handle massive cylinder pressures. The crankshaft was forged steel. The connecting rods were forged and shot peened. The pistons were low-friction designs with molybdenum-coated skirts. Every rotating component was balanced to tolerances that would make a watchmaker jealous. But the real magic was in the head. Honda's K-Series head was a work of art. 4 valves per cylinder, dual overhead cams, and a revised VTEC system that now controlled both intake and exhaust cams. The intake ports were CNC machined for perfect flow. The combustion chambers were designed using computational fluid dynamics, something that was cutting edge in 2001, and the result was terrifying. In early dyno testing, the K20A was making 87% volumetric efficiency at peak power. That's borderline Formula One territory for a production engine. When they bolted it into a test mule Civic and sent it to Suzuka Circuit, the lap times were faster than the Integra Type R, the car that had defined front-wheel drive performance for a decade. Destroyed by a motor destined for the family sedan. That's when management stepped in. The meeting that changed everything. March 2001, Honda's executive board convenes for a quarterly review. On the agenda, K-Series development update. Yamamoto presents the numbers. The K20A in full trim makes 220 horsepower at 8,200 revolutions per minute from the base version. The Type S variant, with revised cams and a higher compression ratio, makes 237 horsepower. And the prototype they've been testing, the one with the aggressive cam profile and individual throttle bodies, makes 287. The room goes silent. One executive, Takeo Fukui, who would later become Honda's CEO, asks the question everyone's thinking. What does the S240 horsepower Yamamoto replies? From 2.0L. And the NSX? 290 from 3L, sir. Fukui leans back, does the math, and drops the hammer. You're telling me we're about to release an engine for the Civic that makes more power per liter than our flagship supercar? Yamamoto nods. That makes the S2000 obsolete. Another nod. Fukui looks around the table. The other executives are stone-faced. They all see the problem. Honda had just spent millions developing and marketing the S2000 as the ultimate naturally aspirated sports car. Dealers had waiting lists, customers were paying over MSRP, and now they were going to stuff a more powerful engine into a car that cost half as much. The brand damage would be catastrophic. S2000 owners would riot. NSX owners would demand refunds. The automotive press would crucify them for building a halo car that couldn't even beat their economy car engine. Fukui makes the call. Limit it? I don't care how, but the K20A cannot make more power than the F20C, and it absolutely cannot approach NSX numbers. Ever. Yamamoto tries to argue. The engine is capable. It's safe. The testing proves it can handle the output. But Fukui cuts him off. I didn't say it can't. I said it won't. The meeting ends, and Yamamoto walks back to his team with the worst possible news. They built the perfect engine, and now they had to break it. The strategic suffocation. So how do you make an engine less powerful without making it obvious you're sabotaging it? You can't just pull power randomly. Customers aren't stupid. If the K20A made 200 horsepower with worse specs than the prototype, people would ask questions. Journalists would dyno it. Tuners would tear it apart. So Honda got creative.